Niti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service, Text 4. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer obeisances, respectful obeisances, unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. All the Vedic literatures and the Puranas are meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. The living being is in the state of forgetfulness of his relation with God due to his being overly attracted to material sense gratification from time immemorial. His struggle for existence in the material world is perpetual, and it is not possible for him to get out of it by making plans. If he at all wants to conquer this perpetual struggle for existence, he must re-establish his eternal relation with God. And one who wants to adopt such remedial measures must take shelter of literatures such as the Vedas and the Puranas. Foolish people say that the Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. However, the Puranas are supplementary explanations of the Vedas intended for different types of men. All men are not equal. There are men who are conducted by the mode of goodness, others who are under the mode of passion, and others who are under the mode of ignorance. The Puranas are so divided that any class of men can take advantage of them and gradually regain their lost position and get out of the hard struggle for existence. Srila Suta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to be preachers of the Vedic literatures and the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana, and it is especially meant for those who desire to get out of the material entanglement permanently. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. So we are in the second chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam, and in the fourth shloka that we just now read now, it is said, Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam. Namaskritya means to offer respectful pranam, obeisances. So, whom should one offer respectful obeisances? First one, Narayanam. Narayanam means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narayana. What is the meaning of this word Narayana? There are several meanings. Nara plus Ayana. Ayana means the final destination. Nara refers to all the human beings, the Naras. The final destination of all the Naras, all the human beings, or all the living entities, is to go back to Godhead, to the Supreme Lord, to render service to Him. Therefore, He is called Narayana. And not only that, whenever The material world goes through annihilation, what we call as pralaya in the Vedic language. All the living entities remain in a dormant state within the body of the Supreme Lord. So his body becomes a ayana. Ayana means a refuge, a shelter for all the souls during the time of pralaya. Therefore, he is called Narayana. So, Narayana has got these meanings. Every name of God is an adjective. It describes his particular quality or it describes his particular leela. God has unlimited names because everything connected with God is unlimited. He is an unlimited personality. Therefore, all his names describe his unlimited qualities and his leelas. And meditating on these leelas and qualities of the Lord will help us to elevate to the spiritual platform because there is no difference between God and his holy name. By chanting the holy names of God, we directly associate with God. Abhinnatvam nama naminaha. The Padma Purana says, Abhinnatvam. There is no difference between the Lord and his holy name because the Lord is absolute truth. In the material world, we also have names for identifying persons and identifying objects around us. But these names are only identifiers. They're only identifying tags associated with those particular persons or objects. The name and the object which it is referring to, they are not the same. That is why this material world is also called a world of duality or a world of relative truth. How do we understand this? Let's take an example. If I say I am thirsty, if I am thirsty, I should actually go to the place where water is available and I should drink water. Then my thirst becomes quenched. Instead of doing that, if I simply sit wherever I am and if I simply keep saying water, 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 will I get the experience of actually drinking water? No, because the name water does not have the experience, will not give us the experience of actually drinking water. This is the meaning of identified and the identifier being different in the material world. Whereas in the spiritual world, there is no difference between the identifier, the name, and the identified, the person whom the name is referring to. That is why when we chant the holy name of the Lord, we actually experience spiritual upliftment. You will not get this experience simply by chanting any other name. Now, that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in his Shikshashtakam, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktihi. The Lord has got unlimited names, and in each name the Lord has invested unlimited potencies, which means each name of the Lord has the same potency as the Lord himself. So when you chant the name Narayana, you're actually directly associating with Narayana. Though currently in our material conditioned state of living, we cannot appreciate this. We cannot appreciate how by chanting Narayana, I'm actually touching, contacting Narayana. I may not be able to immediately experience, but there is some change which is happening in me. Definitely. The more and more I chant the name of Narayana, the more and more I chant the name of Krishna, there is some change which is happening. And Prabhupada gives a wonderful example. Iron rod kept in fire. When the iron rod is kept in fire, what happens? Gradually, the iron rod gets heated up and It becomes red hot at some point of time, and the iron rod is no more merely a normal iron rod. Now it behaves like fire because it was in contact with fire for such a long time. The iron rod now starts behaving like fire. That means you touch the iron rod, hot iron rod, to any cloth, it will burn immediately. That is the effect of association. In the same way, Krishna has invested his Satchit Ananda, everything, all his potency, in his holy names. So when you chant Krishna's holy names and you associate with Krishna's holy names by careful hearing and chanting, you are actually getting purified. We become Satchidanandized, we become spiritualized, and that shows up in our thinking, in our choices in life, in our behavior with others. All that gradually, those positive spiritual changes will be observed, we can see within ourselves. So the point is, we have to chant the holy name of the Lord. So that is why here it is said, Narayanam Namaskritya. Namaskritya. I should offer my respectful obeisances to Narayana, the supreme abode of all the living entities. And Naranchaiva Narottamam. Narottamam, Nara Uttamam, best among the humans. So who is this Narottamam? Naraha. So the Lord has got various incarnations. One of the incarnations of the Lord is Nara and Narayana. Nara and Narayana both are expansions of the Supreme Lord. They are called Nara Narayana Rishis. They are actually twins. And both of them, they reside in Bhadrikashrama in the Himalayas. Even now, it is said they reside there, Bhadrikashrama. And they perform tapasya. Every incarnation of the Lord has got a particular uh, motto or a particular message for humanity. For example, Krishna, when he appeared 5,000 years ago, his message was loving service to Krishna is the goal of life. Krishna's activities are so attractive. Adharam Madhuram, Vadanam Madhuram, Madhuradipate Akhilam Madhuram. Krishna wanted to demonstrate the sweetness aspect of himself to the whole world. Therefore, he performed so many leelas to attract our attention towards him. The message of Krishna is just surrender unto me. You become my devotee. I will take care of everything. Similarly, Narasimha, his message, Narasimha Avatara's message was you don't have to fear. A devotee is always protected by the Lord. That is Narasimha Avatara's mood and Narasimha's message to all of us. Similarly, this Naranarayana Rishis, their message, the incarnation of Naranarayana, their message is human life is meant for tapasya. Human life is not meant for sense gratification like animals. Human life is actually meant for self realization. And for self realization, one has to undergo tapasya. Tapasya means what? Voluntarily accepting bodily and mental inconveniences for the sake of making spiritual progress. That is called tapasya. And of course, tapasya cannot be invented. We cannot think, my own tapasya I will do. For example, a lot of people do many tapasyas. We keep seeing in the social media. Somebody does, let's say, every day 30 push ups, 100 push ups. Somebody says, I will take up ice bucket challenge. For 30 seconds, I will immerse myself in cold ice. So, can we consider all of these to be tapasya? Yes, no doubt they are all tapasya. But since their goal is not pleasing Krishna, they will not have any spiritual effects on the performer. These tapasyas are meant only to get some name, fame in the world, or maybe they will have some health benefits also pertaining to the body. But actual tapasyas are prescribed in the Vedic scriptures. And these tapasyas are actually meant for pleasing God, to bring us closer to Krishna, to make us free from the bodily concept of life. That is the actual purpose of tapasya. So Naranarayana rishis, they took up severe austerities, and even now they are present in Badrikashrama. And the aim of that incarnation is to show if human being makes, he makes up his mind, nothing is impossible for him to achieve spiritual progress. So Naranarayana rishis, under extreme cold in the Badrikashram, Badrinath, they are performing tapasya for spiritual advancement. They want to show us by their personal behavior how tapasya is so important. So before reciting Bhagavatam, we have to offer our respectful obeisances to Naranarayana rishis. Why? Because they are reminding us that human life is meant for tapasya. Now, in our case, even to sit for 1 hour and hear Bhagavatam every day, that itself is a tapasya. Why it is a tapasya? Because mind is crazy, mind is uncontrolled, mind keeps running there and here to hundreds of subject matters. There is no peaceful, stable mind. So therefore, we find it very difficult to sit in one place and even to hear Bhagavatam. It is said simply by hearing Bhagavatam, one can attain perfection in life. We don't have to go to Badrikashrama in that extreme winter, extreme cold. You don't have to do tapasya. You can sit wherever you are in the comfort of your house and you can hear Bhagavatam. That can give us attraction to Krishna, because that is the purpose of tapasya. Purpose of tapasya is to reduce our attractions, attachments to material enjoyment, and to shift our attachment and attraction towards Krishna. That is the purpose of all kinds of tapasyas prescribed in the Vedic scriptures. So I said we should not invent our own tapasya, but we have to follow the tapasyas that is recommended in the Vedic scriptures, recommended by the acharyas. So for Kali Yuga, Shravanam and Kirtanam are the only tapasya recommended. Shravanam, sit and hear Bhagavatam, absorb yourself in hearing about Krishna from Bhagavatam, and Kirtanam, you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by hearing Bhagavatam and chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we are performing tapasya, we are pleasing Krishna, and we can make spiritual advancement. That is the greatness, one of the best features of Kali Yuga. It is told in Bhagavatam, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan astihi eko mahan gunaha kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param raje. So it is said, Shukadev Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, O king, even though Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, but there is one good quality about Kali Yuga. What is that? Simply by chanting the holy names of Krishna, one can attain highest perfection of going back to the spiritual world. That is the speciality of this Kali Yuga. That is the best thing in this Kali Yuga. So there is a proverb, there is a saying, make the best use of the bad bargain. Somehow we are in the material world. That is a bad bargain. Actually, we should not have been in the material world, but we have desired to enjoy independent of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna, in order to facilitate our desire, he has allowed us to enjoy independent of him in the material world. On top of that, we are born in Kali Yuga. That is even more a difficult situation, a bad bargain. But the best use of this bad bargain is, in this Kali Yuga, simply chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and attain perfection. That is a speciality. of Kali Yuga. So we don't have to feel bad that, oh, I born in Kali Yuga, what to do? No. Just Shravanam Kirtanam. Hear Bhagavatam, chant Hare Krishna, and you can go back to Godhead. As simple as that. We can attain highest perfection. We can make spiritual advancement by these two processes. Krishna has given us ears to hear, so we should hear Bhagavatam. Krishna has given us tongue, ability to speak, so we should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we should taste Krishna Prasadam. By doing this, we can go back to God. Therefore, before reciting Bhagavatam, we have to offer our pranam to these four personalities. First is Narayana, the Supreme Lord, as we discussed. Second is Naranarayana Rishi, who is actually the best among the human beings because he's teaching us that human life is meant for tapasya by his personal behavior. And third personality is Devim Saraswatim. Saraswati is the goddess of learning. So Saraswati is the consort of Lord Brahma, and she is in charge of learning all kinds of knowledge, both material and spiritual. It is she who actually uh, overlooks all the branches of knowledge. According to the Vedic understanding, the Supreme Lord is one, but there are innumerable assistants of the Supreme Lord called the Devatas. And all these Devatas, they act according to the will of the Supreme Lord Krishna or Narayana, and they perform their particular roles in order to make sure that the material world affairs are going on nicely. So they are all called Devatas. So there are 33 crore Devatas as per the Vedic understanding. It is not 33 crore types as some people say. It is 33 crore Devatas. It's a huge number. But all these Devatas are not the supreme personality. Just like in a country, in the government, there is one prime minister or president who is the supreme authority in the government. And under him, reporting to him, there are innumerable ministers, bureaucrats, and administrators. So all these ministers, bureaucrats, and administrators, they're all functioning under the president or the prime minister. They're all reporting to him. They're not independently powerful. All their power is coming from the president or the prime minister. In the same way, the Supreme Lord Bhagavan is one, and all Devatas they derive their power from Bhagavan. So, Saraswati Devi, she is given the department of knowledge. Recently, we had the Vasanta Panchami, which is celebrated as a great festival in honor of the goddess of fortune, sorry, goddess of learning, Saraswati Devi. So, Saraswati Devi, she blesses the living entities with various branches of knowledge. Of course, everybody cannot get the same blessings. Her blessings are conditioned through the laws of karma. So, for example, in a class, suppose there is a school, and let's say class 5, mathematics teacher. So, the mathematics teacher teaches same way to all the 50 students in the class. But different students, they have different grasping abilities. They have different mathematical skills through which they understand what the teacher is teaching. So even though teacher is teaching same way to everybody, but the receptor, the people who are receiving the knowledge, the students, their ability to understand is different. Therefore, different students score different marks in the same exam of mathematics. So in the same way, So the material world is governed by the law of karma. The devatas cannot bless somebody beyond their karma. Karma can be changed only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Karmani nirdahati kintucha bhakti bhajam. Then somebody may say, then if devatas cannot bless me beyond the karma, then why do the devatas exist then? Yeah, devatas, by worshipping the devatas, one can accumulate punya karma. Punya. One can accumulate punya, and that punya results in good fortune, good learning, all of that. But for those who can directly surrender to the Supreme Lord, there is no need of accumulating punya by worshipping the devatas. So, the Vedic scriptures describe all the devatas and the different vratas and pujas to be done for all the devatas, because not everybody can directly surrender to the Supreme Lord. Each soul is undergoing its spiritual evolution. Each soul has got its own ways of thinking, feeling, willing, choice making. So, somebody may not be ready to surrender to Krishna immediately. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. After many, many lifetimes of spiritual evolution, a person in true knowledge comes to this conclusion that Vasudeva or Krishna is the supreme, and he surrenders to Krishna. And such a great soul, Mahatma, is very rare. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. That means there are different souls at different levels of spiritual perfection, spiritual advancement. So, not everybody is in the platform of directly surrendering to the Supreme Lord. So, therefore, according to the gunas, the three gunas which govern us, different people take up different methods of worship, as it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Those who are driven by Sattva Guna, they worship the Devatas. Those who are driven by the Rajoguna, they worship powerful personalities within this world, say politicians, decision makers. They become fans. So they are all Rajasic worshippers. And those who are in the mode of good ignorance, they worship bhutas, pretas, pishachas, such entities. That means our mode of worship is governed by the modes which are governing us. So it's a it's a big science, psychology that Krishna talks about in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Why we behave differently, why each person has a particular choice of eating, particular choice of dress. All these are not simply random. These are all governed by the three gunas. So the goddess of fortune, Saraswati Devi, can bless us with knowledge which can help us become free from material entanglement. She can also give us knowledge which keeps us bound to the material world. Both kinds of knowledge exist. So Vishnu Purana defines what is Vidya. Ya Vidya Sa Vimuktaye. That is a definition of Vidya. What is Vidya? Ya Vidya Sa Vimuktaye. That is indeed knowledge which liberates us, which frees us. Free from what? Freedom from bodily concept of life. That is true knowledge which frees us from false identification with the body. That is called avidya. Avidya means we think we are this body. That is the biggest illusion. That is avidya. And because we misidentify ourselves with the body, We think simply by keeping the bodily requirements as priority in life, I can achieve happiness. So the whole world is very busy. How to make the body happy, how to make the senses happy, how to make the mind happy. So there are so many branches of knowledge which have evolved over a period of time to help those people to make their body and mind happy. But real satisfaction can be achieved only when the soul is awakened and the soul is connected with the Supreme Soul, Krishna. That is why Vishnu Purana says, only that is Vidya which can award us freedom or liberation from the bodily conception of life. Now, this Srimad Bhagavatam is exactly meant for that. Srimad Bhagavatam knowledge is meant for freeing us from material conceptions and bringing us to the spiritual conception of life. So, and goddess of fortune, goddess of learning, Saraswati Devi, she is facilitating us to gain this knowledge. Therefore, we have to offer our respects to the goddess of learning, Saraswati Devi. So, sometimes immature Krishna conscious devotees have a wrong understanding that we don't have to show any respect to the Devatas. Only Supreme Lord we have to worship. Now, that's not the right understanding. Supreme Lord means the Supreme Lord along with all his parts and parcels. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no need to separately worship the Devatas. Because simply by worshipping Krishna, all the Devatas are automatically worshipped. Example given is just like pouring water to the roots of the tree, the entire tree gets nourished with water. You don't have to separately worship each and every Devata. Just like you don't have to separately water each and every part of the plant's body. Just put the water to the roots. All the parts of the body get water. So Sarva Deva Mayo Harihi, Bhagavatam says. All the Devatas are included within the personality of Hari, Krishna. All the Devatas are parts and parcels of Krishna. So we don't have to separately worship the Devatas. But that does not mean that we disrespect the Devatas. Now that is an offense. Because all the Devatas are devotees of the Supreme Lord. And when we offend or disrespect the Devatas, it is not liked by Krishna. Krishna does not like that his devotees disrespect the Devatas. That is Vaishnava Aparadha. We should all be careful. We should not think that, oh, only Krishna, all Devatas, I don't care. No, the idea is if you worship Krishna, all Devatas are automatically worshipped. But that does not mean we disrespect the Devatas. We should pray to the Devatas. Whenever we come across any Devata temple, we should bow down our head and we should say, oh, my dear Ganesha, oh, my dear Saraswati Devi, my dear Lord Shiva, my dear Devatas, you are doing such wonderful seva to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Please also give me inspiration to serve Krishna, to serve Vishnu. Please give me inspiration. And since these Devatas are rendering very great service to the Supreme Lord, by their blessings we can actually become dear to Krishna. It is possible. So that is the way. So that is the mood in which a Vaishnava should worship the Devatas. Generally, materialistic people worship the Devatas to achieve favors from the Devatas so that they can become materially powerful, materially rich and influential. But a spiritualist does not worship the Devatas to get material favors. In fact, a devotee, a spiritualist, worships Krishna only. Even if he wants material favors, material advancement, he should worship Krishna only. That is what Bhagavatam is saying. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one is akama, that means akama means without any material desires, or whether one is sarvakama, that means one has all kinds of material desires and aspirations, or whether one is moksha kama, that means desire for attaining liberation. In any case, one should simply approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, by rendering very strong devotional service, intense devotional service, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Because when you go to the Devatas, you get only temporary benefits. You may get, suppose somebody worships Kuvera, he may get some riches, he become wealthy. But that wealth has some limitations. Maybe one or two generations may become wealthy. After that, again, by the influence of time, because of so many other reasons, that after third generation, fourth generation, the family may become poor. That's why Krishna says, Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam. So in the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the worship of the devatas, whatever blessings we get, it is antavat, it is temporary, it is not eternal. And then another interesting thing is, whatever the devatas sanction, they can only sanction if the Supreme Lord sanctions. That is also there in the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Mayaiva vihitan hitan, Krishna says. Whatever benedictions devata worshippers get by achieving their mercy, by their achieving their favor, it is me only who is sanctioning it. Without my supreme sanction, devatas cannot sanction. So the devatas, just like if you go to any minister in the government, minister can only give as much as the budget is approved. And of course, the final budget decision maker is the prime minister. So like that, the Supreme Lord sanctions, and how much ever he sanctions, the devatas can only sanction that much. Another interesting thing that Lord Shiva says is Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnureva Na Samshayaha. So when we go to the devatas, we get only material benefits, temporary benefits, only as much as our karma allows, punya allows. But if one wants spiritual advancement, then the devatas cannot actually give us liberation, because all the devatas themselves are dependent on the Supreme Lord for their liberation. Now, this is what Lord Shiva is saying. Mukti pradata sarvesham Vishnur eva na samshaya. Only Lord Vishnu can award mukti to all the living entities. Of this, there is no doubt. This is a statement made by Lord Shiva himself. That means when you go to the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord can fulfill your material desires. On top of that, you can also get spiritual liberation. That means it is a double dhamaka. Two things. There are instances where somebody has gone to the Supreme Lord for material benefit, but he has got spiritual advancement, liberation also. One such example is described in the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, the Leela of Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva was a small boy, he was humiliated by his stepmother. He wanted to get a position greater than his father, his great-grandfather, Brahma. So therefore, Dhruva went to the forest. He was guided by Narad Muni with the intention of getting a position greater than his great-grandfather, Lord Brahma. Dhruva, a 5-year-old boy, started worshipping the Supreme Lord by chanting his holy names, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and also performed severe tapasya in the forest according to the instructions of Narad Muni. And for 6 months he did intense tapasya. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. He performed severe tapasya. And he set a record in the entire history of mankind for being the youngest child to be able to see the Lord face to face in the shortest duration, within 6 months. At the end of 6 months, the Supreme Lord appeared in front of Dhruva, boy, and he asked, my dear boy, what do you want? So, even though initially Dhruva had material aspirations in mind. But the process of bhakti, the process of chanting Hare Krishna, the process of chanting the holy name of the Lord was so powerful, it made an impact on him. There was a change in his consciousness. He said, Swamin Kritartosmi Varam na yache. He said, Swamin, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Swamin Kritarthosmi. I am fully Kritartha. I am fully satisfied just by seeing you. Varam na yache. I don't want any material benediction. He said, Kachan Vichinvan Api Divya Ratnam. I was actually looking for uh, pieces of glass. I was so foolish and childish that I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but I have found Sthanabhilashi tapasistitoham. Kachan Vichinvan Api Divya Ratnam. I was looking for a bigger sthana, greater than Lord Brahma. That's why I did tapasya. But it was like children fighting for pieces of glass. But I have got Divya Ratnam. I have got you. I have seen you. Oh Supreme Lord, I have seen you. I have got this Divya Ratnam, the greatest jewel I have got. Why will I again ask for broken pieces of glass? So, this is the transformation that comes about when one chants the holy name of the Supreme Lord under the guidance of a pure devotee spiritual master. Even though we may begin with material aspirations and desires, of course, Krishna satisfies that also. Huh? So, what did Dhruva Maharaj get? Dhruva Maharaj got a separate planet called Dhruva Loka, pole star, which is like the Vaikuntha within this material world. It does not get annihilated even when the higher planetary systems get annihilated. Sarvaloka Namaskritam, it is said in Bhagavatam. All the planetary systems, the residents of all the planetary systems, they show their respects to this Dhruvaloka. That is the position of Dhruvaloka. So Dhruva Maharaj, the boy, he was given a separate planet to rule over. And on top of that, he also got liberation from the material existence. He ruled the Dhruvaloka for a long period of time. And after that, he also was personally taken by the Vishnu Dutas to the Vaikuntha. And not only that, he also ensured his mother also gets liberated. So that is why Bhagavatam is saying whether you have material desires or you don't have material desires, or whether you have material aspiration for liberation, in any case, if you are intelligent, please take up Krishna consciousness. Take up devotional service to Krishna, because you get both material benefits and you get spiritual benefits, liberation. But that is not true with the Devatas. Devatas cannot award liberation because they themselves depend on the Supreme Lord Vishnu for their liberation. They can only give us material things which are again temporary and limited. But when Krishna chooses to give material benedictions to his devotees, that is unlimited. Akshaya, it is unlimited. Just like Krishna gave unlimited opulence to his devotee and friend Sudama. So we should understand this very nicely as aspirants of followers of Krishna consciousness. We should actually understand what is the difference between Devatas and the Supreme Lord. What is the difference between worship of the Devatas and the Supreme Lord? As devotees of the Supreme Lord, what should be our behavior towards the Devatas? The behavior should be full of respect, like a Vaishnava treats another Vaishnava. But we don't have to ask them for material desires. We should ask for advancement in spiritual life, blessings to engage in more devotional service. So that should be the way. So here, Devim Saraswatim. So before reciting Bhagavatam, we should offer our respects to Goddess of Fortune, Goddess of Learning, Mother Saraswati, because she is in the form of the verses of Bhagavatam Saraswati Devi is giving us an opportunity to know Krishna and to develop attraction to Krishna. And then Vyasam. We should also offer respects to Vyasam. Vyasa Deva. He is the author of this great work, Srimad Bhagavatam. And Vyasadeva, as we have discussed before, he is a literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. Namo Vai Brahmanidhaye Vasishthaya Namo Namah. So Vyasadeva, he is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu because an ordinary person cannot do the Herculean task of compiling the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas. It's not possible. It is definitely possible only for even to compose one Mahabharata with 1 lakh verses with such wonderful insights and deep philosophy, and yet so interesting even for materialistic people to read. It is not easy. So, therefore, Mahabharata is compiled by Vyasadeva. Mahabharata is composed by Vyasadeva, whereas all the other scriptures are compiled by him. Compiled means already the knowledge was there, but he had put it in right order. He has classified the Vedas into four and then given the responsibility of carrying forward the Vedic knowledge to four of his disciples. And then he also gave responsibility of the Puranas to one of his disciples, that is Roma Harshana. So, like this. So, we have to offer our respects to Vyasadeva. It is said, Vyasam Vishala Buddhihi. No one can be as intelligent, as broad minded as Vyasadeva. Because in the very beginning of Mahabharata, Vyasadeva makes a very bold statement. He says, whatever you can find in Mahabharata, you may find it elsewhere also. But whatever is not found anywhere else, you can find that in my book, Mahabharata. That is a fact. You take any idea under the sky, you will find that in Mahabharata. And the essence of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita. In fact, the main purpose why Vyasadeva compiled this Mahabharata is to serve to us the nectar of Bhagavad Gita. Mahabharata is history. Mahabharata. The definition of Mahabharata also Vyasadeva gives in the beginning of Mahabharata. Mahatvat Bharavatvat iti Mahabharata. That which is simultaneously Mahat means great, and that which is Bhara. Bhara means heavy. It is great and it is heavy with so much of spiritual insights. Therefore, it is called Mahabharata. Mahabharata and the Puranas, they are called as Panchama Veda, the fifth Veda. It is said, Stri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam Traina Shruti Gocharam. The materialistic people cannot understand the Shrutis, the four Vedas, because it is too esoteric, it is too deep, philosophical. But to make sure that the essence of the Vedas are reached out to even the common masses, Vyasadeva compiled Mahabharata and the Puranas. So in the Mahabharata, in the context of the history of Pandavas and Kauravas, Vyasadeva has given all the knowledge pertaining to the Vedas. Therefore, it is Panchama Veda, fifth Veda. Whatever knowledge and realizations one gets by careful study of the four Vedas and the Upanishads, one can achieve that by studying Mahabharata. And everybody is interested because it's a story. Everybody likes to read stories. Mahabharata, even though the main story is about Pandavas and Kauravas, there are at least about 250 other stories which are also narrated in the Mahabharata. They are called Upakhyana. Upakhyana means sub subplots, sub stories within the main story. So everybody is interested because by nature, as children, also we grew up hearing to stories. Stories fascinate, they captivate our imagination, they capture our imagination. And stories everybody likes, small kids and elderly people, everybody. So it is Vyasadeva's strategy to actually make sure that even everybody who does not understand philosophy reads Mahabharata because it is so nicely gripping story format it is presented. And when one reads the Mahabharata, he will also have to read Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedic knowledge. So Vyasadeva has compiled Mahabharata, composed Mahabharata in such a way that he has presented Bhagavad Gita within the story of Mahabharata. That's interesting. And then again, the Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled by the same Vyasadeva because even though in Mahabharata, Vyasadeva has compiled or has described about Krishna, but there Krishna's activities are not specifically highlighted in Mahabharata. Of course, there's a lot of description about Krishna's childhood, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's dealings with the Pandavas, and his various activities that he performed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to ensure that eventually Dharma wins, the Pandavas win. All that description is there in the Mahabharata. And of course, the Bhagavad Gita itself is there in the Mahabharata. But even after compiling Mahabharata, Vyasadeva was not completely satisfied. And therefore, on the order of his spiritual master, Narad Muni, Vyasadeva compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, in Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, the central theme itself is Krishna and his love for his devotees. There is nothing else. Even though there are various incidents pertaining to Mahabharata which are also described in Bhagavatam, but in all such narrations, the central theme is how Krishna is so lovable, how Krishna protects his devotees unconditionally, and how Krishna deals with uh, the surrendered souls. So this is a description in the Bhagavatam. So that's the difference between Mahabharata and Bhagavatam. Mahabharata is classified as itihasa. It is a historical document, whereas Bhagavata is described as a Purana, which focuses on Krishna and his dealings with his pure devotees. Hmm. So therefore, here it is said, Narayanam namaskritya naranchaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jaya mudiraye. Before we study Bhagavatam, we have to actually offer our respects and gratitude to these four different personalities. One, to the Supreme Lord Narayana. Two, to Naranarayana Rishi, who showed us the path of austerity. Third, goddess of learning Saraswati Devi. Fourth, Vyasadeva, who has compiled or written this Bhagavata Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam. And Tato Jayam Udiraye. This Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest, Jayam. If we want to attain Jayam, conquer ignorance, if we want to conquer illusion, the only way is to study Bhagavatam. That is what the shloka is saying. Tato Jayam Udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Now, one very important point that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport is that there are some philosophers, they say that Puranas are less important and Vedas are more important. But that is not the case. As I mentioned, Puranas are considered as Panchama Veda, the supplement Veda, the fifth Veda. By studying Bhagavata Purana, one can get all the understanding that one can get by studying the four Vedas and Mahabharata. Plus, one can also get pure devotional service. That is the greatness of Bhagavatam. Hmm? That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not promote Mahabharata or any other scripture. He promoted Bhagavatam because the speciality of Bhagavatam is by studying Bhagavatam, one cannot miss out this point that I have to surrender to Krishna, I have to engage in loving service unto Krishna. By studying Mahabharata, one may come to so many other conclusions. By studying Mahabharata, one may say, "Oh, Vidur Niti is so good. Now I should become a good, uh, you know, politician. I should think about Arthashastra, economics, and political science, because all such things are described in Mahabharata. Actually, Vidura himself was a pure devotee of the Lord. So, but somebody may read Mahabharata, simply become inspired by Vidur Niti, and say, from Mahabharata, I have gained political science knowledge, right? Or somebody may say, there's a big description about the different kinds of weapons and the different kinds of military uh, training that Dronacharya gave to both the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So one may get inspired from that and say, oh, I will now do research about military science, the art of weapons of the ancient India. One may come to that conclusion. Or one may come to any other conclusion after reading Mahabharata. There's no specific conclusion. But Bhagavatam, if one thoroughly studies, you cannot come to any other conclusion other than rendering pure devotional service to Krishna. Every shloka of Bhagavatam, it is immersed in the honey of pure devotional service to Krishna. That is why Bhagavatam is so special. Hmm? So, just few minutes ago, I was glorifying Mahabharata, but greater than Mahabharata is Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam gives us the ultimate solution to all the miseries that we are going through in the material world. That is, we should simply come to the point of rendering pure devotional service. There is no other solution. Only by rendering pure devotional service, the soul can be completely satisfied. Yayatma suprasidati. Vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojitaha. Janayati ashu vairagyam jnanam chayadahitukam. Simply by rendering devotional service to Vasudeva, uh, we can attain all knowledge. We can attain detachment from all things which are unnecessary. So, like this, Bhagavatam, in an uncompromising spirit, without diverting our attention to any other subject matter, Bhagavatam directly gives us the process of pure devotional service. It glorifies the pure devotees of the Lord, it glorifies the Lord's loving reciprocations with those pure devotees, and it inspires us to take the path of pure devotional service, to understand Krishna, and to go back to the spiritual world. Therefore, Bhagavatam is the super excellent Vedic literature. That is why it is said in the beginning, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. If you compare the entire Vedic literature, all different kinds of Vedas, to one Kalpataru, a desire fulfilling tree, then this Bhagavatam is the most ripened fruit on that Veda Kalpataru, Nigama Kalpataru. So, therefore, that we are reading now. So, we should be so grateful. Our heart should be so grateful towards Vyasadeva who has given us this wonderful Vedic literature. We should feel immense gratitude towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he recommended that study Bhagavatam and you can attain love of Krishna. And we should also show our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada who has made available the pure essence in both letter and spirit of Bhagavatam. It available to us in English language, and today it is available in all the languages all over the world. So, therefore, without offering our obeisances to our spiritual master, to the Supreme Lord, to Vyasadeva, to the goddess of learning, Saraswati Devi, and to Naranarayana Rishi, we cannot actually begin to appreciate this Bhagavatam. Therefore, this Narayana Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet. This prayer is chanted in the beginning of every Bhagavatam class. So, from tomorrow onwards, we will also chant this prayer before every Bhagavatam class, before every session. So, with this, we come to the end of today's session. Uh, I request everyone to please join us every day. Today, I'm very happy that we have a good attendance, hoping to have the same every day. Every day, generally, we have it at 8 p.m. On some days, due to my other engagements and other sessions, we have it on 9 to 10. But every day, generally, it will be 8 to 9. Please do join us and get benefited by hearing Bhagavatam. Simply by hearing Bhagavatam, we can develop love for Krishna. Any questions, comments, anybody before we close the session? Anyone has any questions? Okay, thank you so much for your. Yes, yes,
Hare
Radha
Krishna, bro.
Krishna. Yes, yes, Hare
So,
Krishna.
thank you so much, bro. Just requesting, are we recording this session, bro? Some days we are missing, or any link
Yeah,
to.
I had asked one Sandeep to record. I hope he's there. Sandeep, are you recording?
Yes, Prabhu, I'm recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Sometimes
Thank you
you're
so much.
not there. Sometimes Sandeep is not there. So we should have maybe two more devotees recording just in case if you miss out.
Yes, Prabhu.
Uh,
Sometimes there are some issue like two, three sessions I missed out.
yeah,
So others are available. I'll share the link.
yeah. So if there are anybody else who can help us in recording, it will be good.
Thank you, bro.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. Jai.
Hare
ग्रंथरा
Krishna.
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय जगत गुरु
Jai.
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण
Hare